Kenny, say hello to my vlog. Oh, it's just a Korean place. Let's meet. Oh, very creative. So, of course, I have to try out a Korean restaurant in New York because I like Korean restaurants. Korean, authentic Korean barbecue. They have no patience for me. Oh, there's a queue? I go.
Sofia Vergara once said, "Do you know how smart I am in my language?" And this has never stuck to me because I've always spoken English. English is my first language. And I've never been in a country where I had to learn a new language, I guess. So it's never stuck with me up until last week. I was in New York last week, as you would have already seen from the clip earlier, and I decided to try out a Korean restaurant. So I went to a Korean barbecue restaurant and I noticed something. A lot of the people here are Korean, and I know this because I watch a lot of Korean dramas. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun? Wouldn't it be interesting to practice my Korean? So I said to my twin sister, I was like, what do you think? Do you think I should speak to the waiter in Korean? And then she said, well, how would you know if he spoke Korean? Like, you have to ask him first. What if he's like a second-gen American who doesn't speak Korean? And I thought, good idea. So when he came over, luckily for me, it was this tall, handsome Korean man. And I was excited, okay? So I said to him, 한국어 아세요? Which means, do you speak Korean? And he said, no. And I literally just gasped. I don't know. It was just it felt so surreal. I was like, this is it. This is my opportunity to practice my Korean. Because normally I just speak it to my sister or my friends. And what do they know, right? How do I know if they can understand it because they know the little bit of Korean drama, or if I'm actually speaking actual Korean? So for me to speak to a real Korean and have them like a native Korean and have them understand me, that was so exciting. And so I just introduced myself. I was like, 안녕하세요, 안지입니다. And then it went 반갑습니다. And I went 반가워요, which means, nice to meet you. I said, hi, my name is Anjy. And then he said, nice to meet you. And then he was so excited as well. And he said, how do you know Korean? And wow, in that moment, I had so many emotions going through me, which I'm going to get to in a bit. But then I told him, I was like, I watch a lot of Korean dramas and I really love the Korean culture. That's why I'm here to, try out Korean restaurants. I'm visiting from England and all of that stuff. And he was just so happy. He was so excited to see someone speak his language to him because he isn't a native English speaker. And besides that, I could tell that it's quite new to the US because his English wasn't very good. And that was the moment it dawned on me. Wow, up until now, the only reason I've tried to learn Korean was for my own selfish reason. It's because I watched tons and tons of K-dramas and I just love the language. It sounds good in my ears. The culture is quite similar to Nigerian culture, which is very surprising to me because Asia and Africa, what? And I just thought, wow, up until this moment, I have just had my own selfish reasons. I just like the language. It sounds cool. I want to learn it. And I've never taken it really seriously. I just like speaking little words here and there. Then in that moment, I went, oh my God, I've just made this guy come out of his shell. Because when he was speaking English earlier, when he first, came to our table, it wasn't very comfortable in his skin. The English is obviously foreign to him. It was kind of broken English and it wasn't, it wasn't fluent. It wasn't flowing very well. You could tell he was a little bit, stiff in the way he communicated. And this guy could have an IQ of, 24,000 for all I know. But because he's speaking a language that is foreign to him, isn't his own, it kind of reduces his intellect, perceived intellect, I don't know how smart he is, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Because he's speaking in a language that he's not comfortable with, he like was a different person than who he was when he spoke his own language. And I was so happy that I was able to give that to him. So that's my number one. That's my number one reason that I'm going to try and learn Korean, like seriously now. To be able to give that to someone. It gave me a flashback about someone who joined my team quite recently at work. She's Chinese. She also isn't very fluent in English. And I've had to be very patient when talking to her because I want her to feel heard, and I don't want her to feel like she can't like express herself because she's not doing it very well. I want her to be comfortable on the team because I really like her. And I realized I've had to pay a bit more attention to her, to listen to what she has to say and understand what she's saying back to me as well. So yeah, and I just thought to myself, oh my God, I've never had to worry about how people perceive me, about how I come across like linguistically, because I've just spoken English. It's just, I know it like the back of my hand. But to be able to give someone that comfort, like, wow, this guy like completely changed like his demeanor. The waiter, like his demeanor changed when he was speaking Korean. It was so comfortable in his skin. It was fluent. It was flowing. He sounded like a very smart, hot man. I was just like, woo, speak Korean. It's like music to my ears. And it just made me so excited. I thought to myself, I'm going to do this more like passionately. I'm going to learn this more passionately, you know, so that maybe one day some random ajuma, some old woman is trying to communicate in English in the UK or in the US or wherever it is that I go that's English speaking, and she's finding it difficult. Perhaps I can step in and be like, 괜찮아요? Are you okay? You know, and just help her out. Oh my God, like, I don't know how else to explain that feeling. I felt so good. And perhaps it's still kind of selfish. It's like Phoebe said in the series Friends, there's no selfless deed. Actually, it was Chandler who said it to Phoebe, that there's no selfless deed. Every deed you do that you think is a good deed is still somewhat selfish because you do it because it makes you feel good. But however selfish that might seem, one day I just really want to help like Korean native speakers that are not very good with English. I want them to feel comfortable. I want to let me be the dumb one for a change, you know. And I say dumb very lightly, but like when you're trying to speak a language that you're not fluent in, you kind of sound dumb because you're speaking broken language, right? When I was speaking Korean to him, I'm sure I was sounding very like stupid. And I can imagine that a lot of foreigners in foreign countries, they probably felt that way at some point because they can't articulate what they mean very clearly, and like they probably felt somewhat dumb because they just can't say it like they want to say it. Because in that moment, when I was speaking Korean, when I was the foreigner in this man's world, in this Korean man's world, I'm pretty sure he looked at me like with my broken English and just, but he still understood me. And he was happy, he was excited to like, communicate with me. He found not one of his own because he has people around him that are Korean, but for a foreigner in his own, world, because I'm foreign to him. I'm African, I'm not Korean. But I'm sure he looked at me with like a view of, oh, this foreigner knows my language and loves my language. I'm sure that made him feel good in some way. And even when I was leaving, I botched it as well. I said 안녕히 가세요, which means go well, when I was the one going, when I should have said 안녕히 계세요, which means stay well. So it didn't care. Like in that moment, I probably sounded stupid. When I was leaving, I was like, oh shit, I said the wrong one. But who cares, So what, I looked stupid, So what? They've probably felt that way all their life in a foreign country, or at least until they've properly learned the country's language. So yeah, that just like completely changed my mindset and like gave me a whole different reason to learn Korean properly. For a language and culture that I say that I love so much, I should be able to do something for it. I should be able to give something back to it. And I really hope to visit Seoul one day. It's in my plan. It's one of the goals that I have for myself. I really want to go. But I want to go as someone that at least can communicate. I think it's respectful. To go and stay in a country and just show that effort to learn the language. So yeah, that's my number one reason. Number two, this is my second reason for learning to speak Korean. I think it's impressive. I think unlike Spanish and French, that's pretty, well known around the world, it's quite common to learn these languages. A lot of English-speaking countries will teach this in school as like their second language or third language. I know America does that a lot. They would teach Spanish, and in the UK, a lot of people learned French in school. But I think it's quite impressive to know an Asian language as someone who is not Asian. I think Korean is one of the top. And no, Chinese I think is the hardest. Mandarin is really hard to learn because all the different alphabet and the pronunciations very much like core to the speaking. Whereas Korean is, to be fair, with the Asian languages, one of the easiest. With the East Asian languages, one of the easiest to learn. But to someone who doesn't know that, who isn't really exposed to Asian culture, I think it's really impressive. So that's more of a selfish reason for me to learn to speak Korean. I think, it would be good to like show off once in a while, in a public setting. Perhaps there's someone who's there who's Korean and I just speak to them in Korean and they're like, oh, you speak Korean? And I was like, nah. I think it's so impressive. I don't know. I think it's one of those like fun skills to have. Number 3, I want to be able to visit the country with no language barrier. I know it wouldn't take me like only a year or so. Like I want to visit Korea within a year. I know it would take me more than that to be fluent, but at least intermediate level, beginner level, where I can conversate in Korean. Being able to visit a country and not have a language barrier and be able to understand them when they're gossiping about you, which I know they will because like I clearly do not look Korean. So they'll probably make comments about where I'm from or whatever. And I think, for my own just entertainment, to just like eavesdrop on people's conversations about me, without them knowing that I know. Again, I'm referencing Friends where, when was it? Oh, where Monica and Chandler were dating, but they wouldn't tell Phoebe and Rachel, even though Joey already knows. And then Rachel and Phoebe find out, but then they don't want Monica and Chandler to know that they know. So they're saying to Joey, do they know that we know? And then Joey's like, yeah, like they're like, damn it. Well, now they don't know that we know that they know. So in my head, I think it would be so cool to go to Seoul and just listen, eavesdrop on people talking about me and then just look over and be like, 그거 뭐예요? Like, what's that? You know what I mean? Like, I think it'll be fun. I think for my own entertainment, I would really love to do that. And just being able to move around, read the signs. I already have learned the alphabet so I can read it and write it, even though I can't tell you what every word means. So I'm making progress and I can't wait. I really can't wait to visit and, explore a country as a foreigner that is very much accustomed to the culture. So yeah, that's my 3rd reason. 4th reason why I want to learn to speak Korean. Potential job opportunities. Very recently, I've been seeing a lot of jobs pop up where it's like, bilingual people, German speakers wanted, French speakers wanted, Arabic speakers wanted. With K-drama and K-pop getting more and more popular, I really wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing Korean speakers wanted. And damn, I'll just be able to pop up and be like, hi, 안녕하세요. 한국어 할 수 있어요. I speak Korean, give me the job, So I think it will be a great skill to have. It will really be a great, languages are always good to learn. Someone who is very multilingual is an impressive person. They have more job opportunities. They're not limited by geography. They can literally go to Spain, to China, to France, to Germany. They can go to any country if they speak the language and just like start to live there, and that just reduce the barrier to entry that they have. So I think, for my own career opportunity, it will be really fun. It will be really good to learn to speak Korean. So it's something you could, consider. It doesn't even have to be Korean. Maybe learn French, maybe learn Spanish, and you'll be able to go to all the countries that speak those languages and get jobs there. Wouldn't that be good? Now, last and final reason why I'm learning to speak Korean. Now, I have this written down because I wanted to get it right. Did you know that people who speak more than one language, people who are bilingual or multilingual, they have cognitive superiority. Yes, they are smarter on average than people who only speak one language. So people who speak multiple languages, one or more, 2 or more languages, have a more engaged brain. So they have improved cognitive abilities like concentration and faster learning, faster problem solving. And also, this is a very interesting one. It actually slows down the onset of dementia because you're using different parts of your brain more. How cool is that? I mean, how cool is that? One, I am impressive for learning, an Asian language. Two, I get to travel all over the world. Three, I get to make, people who speak that language more comfortable in their skin when they speak their own language as opposed to a foreign language. Four, I don't remember what it is I said, but now I'm actually reducing dementia. I'm reducing the onset or, slowing down the probability of me getting dementia and then Alzheimer's disease at some point. That's I don't know if that doesn't sell it to you. I don't know what will, because those diseases are getting more and more popular these days. Very sadly so. But we kind of already know that a way to prevent or reduce the probability of having dementia is to use your brain more actively. I've heard a bunch of old people in like care homes say things like that. Like they're not really working, but they do things that kind of activate their brain or make their brain active, like use their brain to some level, kind of like work out the muscles in their brain, basically. So it makes sense how, because you're using different parts of your brain to like, this part speaks Korean, this part speaks English. I mean, it's still one part of your brain for learning. But you're still kind of pulling it from different parts of your brain, because from memory, that's hippocampus. And then you're learning, I forgot where it's from now. I don't remember. I think it's the frontal cortex. I might be wrong, but you're basically pulling, different strings from different part of your brain to learn a new language or to speak different languages. And it makes sense why it would help you live longer. It will help your brain live longer. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, comment down below what language you're learning to speak or how many languages you can speak, and let me know. And if you have any interest in learning Korean or any interest in Korean culture at all, or K-drama recommendations, I'm always up for that. Please put it down in the comments section and let me know. My name is Anjy. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you watch all of my other videos, or at least one other video. Okay, bye bye.